Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Calvin Coolidge. So many of us can say it's been a hard season. The struggles have been undesirable, but still, there's beauty in your story. You pressed on. You are still pressing on. This means that you're so much stronger than when you started, and now you can help someone in their down season. Hi there, everyone. I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you that your struggle is the blueprint to innovation and social change. While you think on that, crew, roll the tape on Jamaica Magazine.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, September 20, 2022. A series of community interventions are being undertaken to identify persons who qualify for free birth certificates under government's Operation Birthright project. The program, which was launched recently, will provide free birth certificates to 11,000 undocumented Jamaicans. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says it will allow more Jamaicans to fully participate in the digital society and empower the government to serve its citizens better.
We are marching in that direction very rapidly. This administration committed to building out the digital society. We are on our way. We're doing it fairly and inclusively, and we're making sure that the benefits of it redound to every single Jamaican.
The initiative will also support the effective rollout of the state's National Identification System, NIDS, program. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Floyd Green, says teams from the NIDS project and the Registrar General's Department, RGD, will visit communities across the island to sign up persons for the project. In addition, partnerships have been struck with the National Youth Parliament and the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities to identify undocumented citizens through community engagements.
I'm happy that we're taking a more comprehensive approach to address this problem, and I look forward to those who will benefit and to how it will help us truly transform Jamaica into a digital society.
Operation Birthright is estimated to cost $350,000. To qualify, persons must be born in Jamaica, be age 1 or above, earning below $37,000 monthly, and not benefiting from a similar program. Persons can access and download the application form at nidsfax.com, any Registrar General's Department office island-wide, or the office of each Member of Parliament. Come January 2023, the sugar limit in sweetened beverages allowed in schools will move to a maximum of 2.5 grams of sugar per 100 milliliters. The current allowance is 4 grams per 100 milliliters, which was last revised in 2021. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, is imploring school leaders to follow the interim guidelines for beverages in schools. He says the objective is to improve the dietary intake of children and reduce the burden of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, which account for 78% of deaths in Jamaica each year.
It is important, therefore, that we respond to this because sugar is addictive and our young people will become addicted and will continue as part of their lifestyle to consume this excessive sugar, which ultimately, there's no doubt about it, will lead to health issues later on in life.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Favour Williams says over 600 principals, school nurses, teachers, and other categories of staff have been sensitized about an institutional plan for promoting healthy consumption choices and physical activity among students.
We are again appealing to all our stakeholders to help us to follow the guidelines in the interest of the good of our children.
The backlog of cases in parish courts continued to decline. Chief Justice Brian Sykes says the decline has been happening for the past 6 years, but more steadily since 2020. Figures reveal that in 2020, the net backlog for the parish courts was 9.9%. For 2021, it was 5.78%, and now in 2022, it has reduced to 1.27%. According to Justice Sykes, the excellent performance of the courts during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic is now impacting their performance in 2022.
There's been a steady decline in the net backlog of cases from 17.98% in 2016 to 1.27%. So what that means, Your Excellency, is that the parish courts have exceeded international benchmarks as far as the net backlog of cases is concerned. And so that is something that has never happened before in the history of our courts.
The Chief Justice was speaking during the recent swearing-in ceremony for 5 judges appointed to serve in the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. Chief Justice Sykes says the data also indicates that the average time for the disposition of criminal cases is 7.69 months across all courts. This includes the busier courts of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Westmoreland, and St. James. And finally, the Ministry of Justice is calling on members of churches and faith-based organizations to take advantage of the training being offered in restorative justice practices. Interested persons may reach out to any of the 20 restorative justice centers island-wide at 888-JUSTICE or 888-587-8423. Recently, leaders of 13 umbrella group of churches signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for the training of their members and leaders in restorative justice practices.
This group of 13 represents over 3,000 congregations across Jamaica. A point to note, Madam Speaker, is that once these church members and leaders are trained, they will join a total of 2,398 teachers, students, and parents who have been recently trained in 81 schools across the island. The church members will be trained in areas such as convening restorative circles, in which persons can address issues causing conflicts and have them resolved.
Minister Chuck was providing an update on the restorative justice program in Parliament recently. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaicans, look on the murder rate. You think that normal? We need to get every illegal gun and save our country.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness continues to answer as his portfolio calls. Here's what he did last week.
Prime Minister announces amnesty following passage of new firearms bill, meets with representatives of Jamaica Public Service Company, and attends state funeral for Queen Elizabeth II. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is now in New York for the 77th United Nations General Assembly, following his attendance at Monday's funeral for Queen Elizabeth II of England. The Jamaican delegation consisted of Governor-General Sir Patrick Allen and his wife Lady Allen, as well as wife of the Prime Minister Juliet Holness. Ahead of the state funeral, Prime Minister Holness met with King Charles III to personally express his condolences. Mr. Holness also joined world leaders in signing a condolence book at Lancaster House in London. Monday's funeral, held at Westminster Abbey in London, was attended by scores of dignitaries and world leaders, including those from the Commonwealth. Ahead of the trip, Prime Minister Holness addressed the House of Representatives, where he also expressed condolences at the Queen's death, following the signing of a condolence book at King's House.
Queen Elizabeth will be long remembered for her constant and unparalleled dedication to the British monarchy and unswerving commitment and service to the Commonwealth and all territories.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently welcomed 328 new recruits to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. During a passing out parade and award ceremony at the National Police College in Twickenham Park, Mr. Holness thanked them for choosing to serve and protect. He also affirmed that the state was on a deliberate recruitment drive to bring the number of security forces in alignment with the island's population. He disclosed that the police force was on track to recruit and train 1,300 new members in the current financial year. This after 1,260 new members were added to the force last year.
Our recruiting strategy is working. We have expanded the number of training campuses that we have. We have improved and expanded our training capabilities, and we have put in place a very robust system of attracting persons to the ranks of the JCF. Poverty is no excuse for seeking to have and using an illegal firearm. None. There are no freedom fighters here. There is no rebellion force here. Every Jamaican must be a law-abiding citizen. And when we make these kinds of excuses for the possession of illegal weapons, all we are doing is empowering criminals.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness repelling assertions that the penalties laid out in the new Firearms Act are too harsh. The bill introduces new penalties, including a minimum 15-year sentence for persons found in possession of illegal guns. Prime Minister Holness says once the law is passed in both houses of Parliament, the government will introduce an amnesty for illegal guns and ammunition.
Out of fairness and equity, out of enough forewarning, so that you can't come in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, I did not know. We will implement a period of amnesty. It will be left up, of course, to the Minister of National Security, who is here, and the Parliament to determine the form of the amnesty. But there will be an amnesty.
And Prime Minister Holness hosted representatives from the Jamaica Public Service Company JPS at a cabinet meeting on Monday. According to a statement from the Office of the Prime Minister, the JPS was seeking to remedy customer concerns related to supply chain challenges and responsiveness to customer complaints. Prime Minister Holness, who chaired the meeting, reiterated the Office of Utilities Regulation OUR's role in resolving customer complaints relating to JPS. He was, however, quick to note that the government had a role to play whenever issues of a particular magnitude were raised by the public. JPS's CEO, Michel Gantois, also fielded questions from cabinet ministers, including Energy Minister Darrell Vaz. The company was asked for answers regarding unplanned outages, adding outstanding businesses and residences to the grid, responding to customer complaints, as well as the need for an enhanced system alerting the company of power outages. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Literacy is a major driver of development. It improves lives by allowing access to opportunities for professional and personal growth. Here's how the Mico Diagnostic Reading Test is contributing to improved literacy and preparing children for future opportunities.
The Mico University College Child Assessment and Research in Education Center, a feat made possible by several major players, with renowned educator Professor Errol Miller leading the team, opened its doors in 1981 and over the years has grown to become the first point of contact in the diagnosis, evaluation and treatment of children with special needs in Jamaica.
in 1975, the Ministry of Education mandated Mico College to educate and train teachers for special education. An advisory committee was set up by the college. The committee recommended that Mico establish a diagnostic and therapeutic center capable of diagnosing the learning problems of children with multiple disabilities and develop instructional prescriptions for teachers and parents. As psychologists, education specialists, and therapists began to provide services to students, they had to use tests from overseas. Many were not appropriate in content. The assessment of reading posed the greatest challenge. Reading is common to all areas. Students needed the test to be tested individually. The content of reading tests had to reflect the physical and social environments, as well as the lived experience of children.
First published in 1995, the Mico Diagnostic Reading Test is an instrument for teachers, diagnosticians, or professionals designed to assess the reading skills of children. Assessment results from this instrument is further used to design educational plans to meet the individual learning needs of the child.
As societies change, more is learned from research and experience gained from practice. Instruments have to be updated, upgraded, and refined. Hence, the Mico Diagnostic Reading Test of 2018.
So it's been a number of years since the first edition has been out. So this new version is an updated version in terms of the passages, in terms of the grade range that it covers, and in terms of the subtests that are involved. We're looking at a number of different aspects of reading. We're looking at a child's ability to distinguish sound in the words that they hear. We're looking at their decoding ability, their knowledge of sight words, reading fluency, and their understanding of what they're reading. One of the benefits of this new version, because we're looking at a number of different areas of reading, is that we can be much more targeted in the recommendations that we're creating for teachers and parents. So instead of just saying a child has a reading deficit, we can say maybe they need to learn more sight words, maybe they need to learn, pick up their fluency, maybe they need to target comprehension. So we can focus on the specific area of reading that they're having difficulty with instead of just saying they have a reading concern.
It's administered individually. There are 3 components. There's a sight word, non-words, and reading comprehension. It takes about roughly an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the level at which the child is at. It varies because most of the children already come with reading problems. They are also aware that they have reading problems. So some are nervous, some have anxiety issues. So it's where I come into play, where I have to do some form of encouragement, let them know that the reason why they're doing this test, for me to know their strengths and their weaknesses so that I can help them moving forward. So after the test is completed, I go through and I score. So the test will now tell me the level at which the child is reading. So that also lets me prepare work packets, activities, worksheets, etc. for their level, for their specific reading need.
It helped me to read and answer story and answer a lot of questions.
The MDRT is currently used in a number of countries across the region. It's used in a number of classrooms. We have a number of teachers who come through to be trained on it so that they can pick up the reading challenges that they have in the classroom. So we expect that this new version will all similarly be used across the region.
The new Mico Diagnostic Reading Test 2nd edition is now available. Contact the Mico Care Center to register for one of our workshops at 876-929-772022 or by email at care_center@cwjamaica.com.
$234 Jamaicans have lost their lives in motor vehicle collisions in the first half of this year. Life is precious. Don't be a statistic. Drive with care.
They love, they work, they play. They do business. They are also blind, deaf, and have physical, mental, developmental, and intellectual disabilities. They are the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Here's a look at how they're building the disabled community.
I'm Dion Jennings, Chief Technical Director assigned to the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. When we protect, promote, and secure the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities, we move closer to realizing Jamaica's Vision 2030 goals, that of fostering inclusion, independence, access, and full participation of persons with disabilities in all spheres of national development. The Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, under the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, is charged with the responsibility for implementing policies and programs for persons with disabilities. The JCPD, through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, will continue to provide support to persons with disabilities to access assistive aids and adaptive devices to enable their independence in their everyday life.
What is a hearing aid?
A hearing aid is a small electronic device that someone who has a hearing loss uses.
Are there different types of hearing aids?
There are different types of hearing aids, and usually they are associated with the type of hearing loss that you have. The behind the ear can be used by anyone who has any levels of hearing loss, from a mild to a profound level. Then you have a receiver in the canal hearing aid, basically for persons with a mild to moderately severe hearing loss. They may have a bud, and if you have a greater loss, then a custom-made mold is attached to the RIC hearing aid, which is a receiver in the canal. Then you have an in-the-ear hearing aid, again, that is used by persons who have a mild to a profound hearing loss. Then you have in-the-canal hearing aid. That is used by persons, again, who have a mild to a moderately severe hearing level. The last hearing aid that we have is called the completely in the canal, and that is used for persons with a mild to moderately severe hearing loss.
Tips to care for hearing aids.
There are different types of hearing aid, and all of them are taken care of the same way, in the sense that they all use a battery, and you're not to use any liquid on the hearing aids. So there is a brush that normally comes with the product that you will clean off any wax or any moisture using a piece of tissue or a soft rag, and you take out the wax out of the openings of the hearing aid. So this is an in-the-ear hearing aid, and so this is taken care of by putting in the battery here, and then you remove it, leave the battery door open, put down in the case, and then if you have a behind-the-ear hearing aid, it's basically the same way. You have the battery door, and you remove the battery, you have the brush, you clean around the tips of the hearing aid, and you clean by the opening of the hearing aid, and you do not use any cleaning agent on the hearing aids. Also, at the tip of the hearing aid, you may have what is called a hair clear, and that is replaced whenever it is blocked with wax. So you put that on the tip of the hearing aid, and you insert it on the opening of the hearing aid so that it protects the hearing aid from excessive wax getting into the instrument itself. And then you remove this and you discard this as well. And that is basically all you have to do to take care of your hearing aids. Do not swallow the battery for the children. Do not leave it out for the animals to come and play with them. And you open the drawer, put it in its case, leave it open so that if there's any moisture in the hearing aid, it can evaporate. So parents, guard the hearing aid, protect them from any excessive moisture. So no cleaning of alcohol, no cleaning agent, no bleach or anything like that. Just when you remove it from your ears, like this, You take it out, you open the battery drawer, remove the battery, and you put it down in the case. And basically that's all you have to do to take care of the hearing aid that you have.
Where can I get information or help?
More information and help is available at the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, located 9 Morisco Road with entrance on Caledonia Lane in the Kingston 5 area.
What is a wheelchair?
A wheelchair is a chair with wheels used when walking is difficult or impossible due to illness, old age, or disability.
Are there different types of wheelchairs?
Yes, there are different types of wheelchair. Actually, you have 3 types: standing wheelchair, electrical wheelchair, manual wheelchair.
Tips to care for wheelchairs.
Some tips for caring for the wheelchair are: 1. To remove all dust from the wheelchair frame by using a damp cloth. 2. Check the tires to ensure that they are still hard. Use a bicycle pump to add air if necessary.
A production of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, a department of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Hey there! So I recently came across a post from the World Health Organization, and I'm just here assuming that, like me, you're also looking for ways to take care of yourself, right? Well, let's hope so. The post read, 1 in 2 young people is at risk of hearing loss. So here goes. This is what I learned about safe listening habits. How do you even know when noise is damaging your hearing? There are easy tells, and most likely you've experienced one, if not all. You have to raise your voice to talk to other people. You cannot hear what people nearby are saying. It hurts your ears. You have ringing. Did you hear that? Okay, back to what I was saying. If you have ringing in your ears or muffled hearing afterwards, the noise is quite possibly loud enough to damage your hearing. So, what can you do? Keep the volume down. Do not listen to music at more than 60% of the maximum volume. Do not use earphones or headphones for more than an hour at a time. Take a break for at least 5 minutes every hour. Use earplugs in noisy places. Also, if you're in a noisy environment, try to take a break every 15 minutes. Give your hearing about 18 hours to recover after exposure to lots of loud noise. Limit time spent on loud activities. Monitor sound levels using mobile apps. And finally, check your hearing regularly. We oftentimes drown our listening habits in the noise and the vibe, but as you just learned, it takes very little to take care of our hearing health. And that's it. Easy, simple, and done. Happy hearing.
This is the end of the Reel for Today show. For resources, news and features, visit our website, gis.gov.jm. Your continued viewership is what keeps us going. This is why your well-being matters. And while experience is a hard teacher and gives the test first, she also gives the lessons afterwards. Vernon Sanders Law. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Press on.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.